Hello, everyone. So we are representatives of Rise and Resist, and this is the sixth day of our rally for the campaign known as Fast for the Forgotten. And we are fasting in shifts in solidarity with hunger strikers and people throughout the New York State and Judson Church, which is local here within New York City. And the purpose of this is to pressure state representatives to create a special economic relief program for essential workers who have received no benefits whatsoever under the federal stimulus packages at all for the year. And they've been the most essential to practically probably all of us. So today we have three wonderful people who are completing their fast, their 24-hour fast. Stu, Livy, and another great person, a great friend of ours, Jenny, who was not available to join us. But the other four people who will be starting their fast today are Jackie, Ann, Alvin, and Wendy.
It's
And
Judy.
no, I
You
got
were
that
right.
wrong.
Yeah, that's okay.
Judy.
It's Judy.
Sorry, that was my second take. So Judy, Alvin, Wendy, and Ann. And you can tell this is completely unrehearsed, and I'm going to hand this over to Stu or Libby who want to share their thoughts about fasting. So thank you very much, everyone.
Go ahead, Stewie.
Oh, thank you. All right, this is my second fast. I fasted last Friday on the kickoff day. And this one was a little more challenging in terms of I was actually hungry at night. It's just really interesting, just thinking it's so easy then to put it aside. I just keep comparing myself to what I'm doing to what the essential workers are doing. And we are in solidarity and we are trying to be allies and boost recognition of this hunger strike. But I don't feel what I did was very much. And I am just grateful to have the opportunity to offer this. And go, you, Livy.
Livy, she, her. Like Stewie, I was more hungry this time than I was the last time. Not, terrible, but I was aware of being hungry more. And I was also, as I felt the hunger pangs, feeling more deeply for the people alongside whom we're fasting, the ones who are literally hunger striking. Like when I go to reach for a slice of bread in the kitchen and pull my hand back, I realize that they don't have that choice. They not just the hunger strikers, but people who've been out of work unsupported for the last year. Sometimes there's no bread to reach for, and that, feeling that in your body, I think, is really different than reading about it or hearing about it. So this has been it's been very personal for me. I love the idea that I'm working in community with you guys. It's been a great source of inspiration, but I'm feeling what we're doing a little bit more deeply in my own body, and that's been hopefully a useful experience going forward.
If I may, since I wasn't able to join folks yesterday when I broke my fast after a day and a half, it wasn't as challenging as I thought it was going to be. But the strangest thing, which I hadn't expected when I actually did break my fast, is that it felt very self-indulgent for me to be eating when I knew that others didn't have that choice. Because as Libby said, they don't literally have food on the table to pick up and eat. And so that made me pause and think a little bit. Yeah, and it is sort of something to kind of, the difference between intellectually pondering something and actually experiencing it physically in your body was also kind of a bit of a surprise to me too. So I'm glad I did it. And should this solidarity fasting continue, I'll ponder taking it on again.
Thank you very much. So now I'd like to ask Judy, Ann, Wendy and Alvin to share their thoughts as far as what you expect or your plans for the next 24 hours. And I'll just preface it by saying that I think this experience for all of us has changed us as in personal for the immediate, but then also in the future. So just Judy, if you want to.
Okay. Hi. This is my first time doing it. I'm joining the group that's been doing it for 6 days because seeing what all of these hunger strikers are suffering and going through, in addition to what they did during the pandemic, has really been very moving. And I feel I need to do something to show solidarity, even if it's symbolic, even though I will not get sick from a 24-hour fast. During this long pandemic, essential workers put themselves and their families at risk every single day, at risk of getting COVID-19, getting very sick, or even dying. And I stayed home and I was able to get whatever I needed, largely because of the work and the sacrifice of essential workers in every field. So I never lost income. My family didn't lose income. We never had to face hunger or loss of shelter or inability to obtain health care. So essential workers deserve, they earned what every other essential worker got, regardless of immigration status. It shouldn't make any difference. It didn't make any difference when they were doing the work. And even though we never know what effect a political action will ultimately have, I feel it's certainly worth a try. And I'm very, very grateful to have this opportunity to show some solidarity, some support for these amazing workers.
Nice, Judy. Thank you.
How about if I go? I have been actually doing some organizing with some of the folks, workers involved in the hunger strike before the pandemic started. But right when the pandemic started, a lot of this became very visceral to me because my daughter came home from college sick and we had to isolate, which meant we had to get food delivered. And at the same time, my husband has been laid off and we're on unemployment. So for weeks, people, essential workers were so gallantly risking themselves to bring to us. And it felt very visceral because knowing that here we were safe, even though unemployed, we were at least getting unemployment compensation. And these folks were getting nothing, absolutely nothing. And over the summer, I was able to finally go and participate in some direct action with them, especially out on Long Island. But when my mother became sick and I had to take care of her, I had to stop this. And this gives at least, and I've been feeling at a loss because I haven't been able to be out there with them. But at least this is some way of showing solidarity with what they're going through, which is really unconscionable that we leave people to starve, to be unhoused, no medical care. It's inhumane. And our society we need to do better and differently. And there's no reason why we can't tax the rich. We have so many of them in this state to create a fund for people who otherwise don't get any kind of compensation and help, and who are so profoundly helping us all. So I'm really, this is nothing to pass for a day with them. Alvin and Wendy, do you want to say anything?
What has really gripped me about all this is the word excluded. It just, to me, is an intolerable term in our country of such a richness and wealth, to exclude any workers under the situation and circumstances we're all going through it. I myself am privileged to be on unemployment, as is Anne. And I mean privileged. It's been a huge support for me when my workplace shut down because of COVID. We're talking about people who can't have that privilege. It is absurd. We need to support them. They have been supporting us. I think we owe it to them. So that's why I'm here, why I want to do the fast today. And more than that, I think even a small action, I mean, we're used to big demonstrations, but I think sometimes the small actions, they do accumulate and they do amplify. I think amplification is key here too. And that's why I really want to thank all of you and Rise and Resist. It is unrelenting in its amplifications. So thank you.
No, absolutely. Many ways you could say I was born into this movement. My parents were illegal immigrants. They ran a Chinese hand laundry in Queens, and so we've always been on the front lines against any and all forms of individual and institutional racism that is coming to the fore right here. And with all the events going on, like with all the anti-Asian antagonism and violence, we've been very moved by the across the board's support. So it's just time to really, all of us, to take a stand. And also, even in a supposedly progressive city like New York, just anything we could do, just the more and more we could say, this is not acceptable. We need to do something. And if everyone does that, that's what keeps us going. And that's it's been a great thing to have with Rise and Resist, particularly the immigration actions too. So just to support illegal immigrant workers, and like Wendy, I hate the terms illegal and exclusion. My grandparents had to deal with circumventing the Chinese Exclusion Act, and just to have to. That's why a lot of people, particularly the Chinese community, the Asian community, takes it all so personally, because we've seen what can happen, like when both institutionally and individually. So that's why we're here today. And this is the least we could do. Thank you for organizing this.
Thank you. And just what wonderful insight. And then we just want to extend to Kevin, you completed your fast, I believe it was yesterday. And so if you wanted to share any thoughts that you have, if you're able to right now.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. It's lovely seeing everyone. I'm just happy to have been able to participate in this action. I think if it's possible that this country has core values, one of those would be fairness and justice. My actual time fasting was, I guess, unnecessarily complicated. I got the vaccine the day before, and of course thought everything would be fine, and started fasting a little early because I had a very busy day and just didn't really eat much of a breakfast. And by the middle of the afternoon, I was feeling really weird. And, by 10 o'clock at night, I was feeling like very weird. And I made it all the way to midnight, but I ended up breaking my fast then. I recorded a little video. I don't know if anybody saw it, but yeah, my heart goes out to those people that have to do this, day in and day out. Just because my short time was really, really weird. But again, more attention should be brought to this. I don't think, your average rank and file people know that these essential workers are being excluded like this. I think any attention that can be brought to this is totally worth it. And again, it's lovely seeing everyone again. Good luck on your fasting.
Thank you, Kevin. So when we post this recording, I believe in the comments, we're going to have options and links for people to get involved. We invite other people, if they're interested in learning more about our fast or the hunger strike in general, please reach out to any of us or select the links. There's also ways to donate and also opportunities to call your state representatives and pressure them to create this economic relief plan. Does anyone else have any comments?
Well, I'll just
No?
say that this is all being done in the context of the New York State budget negotiations, which are in their final days right now between Governor Cuomo and the state legislature. And it's supposed to all be done by midnight tonight, but it looks like the negotiations are going to run long, perhaps over the weekend to fully complete themselves. So we may be continuing this fast a bit, and we welcome anyone who wants to join with us to do this. And so stay tuned.
See you
Wonderful.
all
So
tomorrow.
Ciao.